Thanks, Cian Corla. First of all, I'm delighted to get the chance to speak on this topic. It's a topic I feel very strongly about, and it's an excellent report, and I really hope that we look at now implementing the recommendations, because, you know, we all know reports sometimes can end up on shelves gathering dust, and I really hope that's not the case with this, because there is some excellent recommendations in it. I think we need to take sort of a two-pronged approach when it comes to mental health and children and schools. The first thing is we need to have the services in place for children that are in crisis. We all know tragedies can occur. There could be stuff going on in somebody's life, in their home life, in their family life, and there could be outside factors that affect them. And then there is the fact that school, the stresses of school, the worry and the anxiety that a lot of children face in school, bullying, they also cause problems as well. So we need to have services in place, and I would like to see a system where we had play therapists and counsellors available at school level. Now, a lot of people know that I'm a big advocate of the school completion programme, and I regularly speak about it. I think that this is something that should be rolled out to all schools. And I know, like, a lot of what I'm saying is very ambitious, but we have to start somewhere, and I think that we should be ambitious in our plans. Because if you are in a school completion school, you can get access to counselling and play therapy. Depending on the age of the child, play therapy is more appropriate for younger children, and then counselling as they become older. But that can often be, getting that early intervention can often prevent that from getting worse, and from the child then having to maybe be referred on to CAMHS. Now, I will accept that it doesn't solve all the problems, and not every child just needs counselling. Some problems are more complex and you will need more psychiatric services involved, but I do think that we should start at having counselling services available in schools. The second thing then I think we need to do is look at preventative measures and how we can prevent problems from becoming getting to the stage where people do feel that they need outside help and intervention. And one of the points I want to mention in the report is where it says teachers in schools should be provided with the resources necessary to enable each student to participate fully in schools, to encourage and develop in his or her particular talents and strengths. And later on in the report as well, it says the committee recommends that non-academic achievements, for example, in areas such as youth theatre, can be taken into consideration for college entry. And these are things we need to look at. We need to take the stress out of school. We need to make it that it's not all about the academics. There's some kids that are excellent. Academics is their thing, great. There's some kids that are big into sport. Then there's some kids that fall maybe somewhere in the middle, and we need to take all that into account. And it can't be that, you know, you're seen as a fantastic student because you can get all A's, but you might have other skills. And we need to ensure that they're being encouraged, and that those children realise that they're just as valuable as being a fantastic mathematician. Because what often happens is kids generally start out in the younger years, in the junior and senior infants. Most children you speak to love school, love their teacher, love going in. And as time goes on, it's then they start getting the difficulties with school. So at some point in the school system, they're learning or feeling that they're not good enough, they're losing their confidence, and they're losing their belief in themselves. And that's where all the stuff about mindfulness and coping skills and emotional resilience has to come in, and there's no reason why that cannot be done in schools, and why we cannot, you know, take some of the academic stuff out of the day and maybe bring in a bit of meditation or a bit of time out where kids can, if it's read a book or board games or different things that can go on in the classroom, that it's not so focused on academics only. I even think things like the level of homework that children get, particularly as you get into secondary school level, and the stress and the worry that causes. I'd like to take the opportunity as well to mention the Gaelscoil in Kilkenny. My own kids go there, and they have a mindfulness Tuesday once a month, the last Tuesday in the month, and it's something that's been going on in the school for maybe the last 3 to 4 years. It was introduced by an excellent teacher who really saw the value of it. And so with the last Tuesday of the month now, everybody knows, every parent knows, no homework, but you must do an activity with your child that's non-technological related. And it's about, first of all, adopting that in schools and getting that mindset, but it's also about changing parents' mindsets and the whole societal thing, that is just as important as the academic side of it. So there's so much that needs to be done, but I do think we can start by introducing stuff like mindfulness and emotional resilience, and teaching children, like, it's okay to be different, it's okay not to fit in with everybody else, and I suppose teaching them how to cope when things do go wrong, and how to cope when something didn't go your way, or whether that's through your school life or through stuff that's happening at home. So I suppose they're sort of the things I think that we really need to focus on. The one or the last 2 points I want to make is just this point, because I only learned this myself this week and I found it shocking, that we actually have the highest rate of child suicide for girls up to the age of 19 in the whole of Europe. So that's something I think we need to try and address and look at too. And I also, given the current situation in our housing system, want to mention children who are in emergency accommodation in hotels and B&Bs, and how that does have an impact obviously on their day-to-day lives and how they deal and cope with it in school. And I think that, I know that there's, when you raise this and talk about it, you're told that there's supports there through TUSLA. But not every child is going to come across the TUSLA system. And I think we need to just maybe look at that. I mean, we're obviously all hopeful that we'll be seeing an end to emergency accommodation, but while that system is in place, we do need to look at additional supports for those children. Particularly, many of those children are travelling long distances to get to their school, and you go from having a certain routine and familiarity in your life to upheaval, living in a hotel room, everyone in together, travelling long distances to schools. And a lot of children, they may seem like they're dealing fine with that, but I still think we need to look at maybe putting in additional supports, and also for teachers in that situation, so that they can provide support, because they need the training and the tools, I suppose, themselves firstly, to be able to provide that support. But I would welcome this report, and again I just want to stress that I hope we see these recommendations being implemented. Thanks.